Good evening, everybody. Welcome everybody to this meeting of the Licensing and Regulation Committee. Time is 6 o'clock and it's the Winchester City Council meeting held under new regulations which came into effect on the 4th of April 2020 in response to the COVID situation. My name is Councillor Roger Bento, Chairperson of this committee. So just to remind people of the usual house rules, keep your cameras off and the microphones off unless you're speaking, and if you can indicate that you want to speak or ask a question, use the chat function. The meeting is being audio recorded and live streamed from the website, and then it could be found next to the meeting details where the recording will remain thereafter. The MS Teams meeting will also now be recorded with the video uploaded to the Council's YouTube channel after the meeting. Just to remind you, when you are referring to any of the papers, if you could refer to the page so that we can all find it easily, that makes life a lot easier. Right, so if I can ask, is it Nancy, you undertaking a roll call today, please?
Yes, Chair. Right. If I can read out the names of the councillors and internally, and if you can just confirm you're present, please. So we've got Councillor Bentote.
Yeah, present.
Councillor Ackwell.
Yes, present.
Councillor Gordon-Smith.
Yes, present.
Thank you. Councillor Laming, I know we have apologies for, so I believe that Councillor Fern is deputising.
This is Councillor Fern, that's correct. I am deputising for Councillor Laming.
Lovely, thank you. Councillor McLean. I'll come back to Councillor McLean. I can't see him on the list. Councillor Power.
Present, thank you.
Councillor Reid.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Raffel.
Present.
Thank you. And Councillor Williams.
Present.
So that's everybody here apart from Councillor Laming, for whom Councillor Fern is deputising, and Councillor McLean, who I'm not sure if is joining the meeting or not.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Fiona Mather. You didn't read my name out.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Mather. I do apologise. I've ticked you without reading your name out. I'm so sorry. Councillor Mather, you are obviously there. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Nancy. Can you tell us which officers are here as well, please?
Yes, sure. We have, well, in addition to myself in the St Giles room, we have Dave Shaw from Democratic Services as well supporting the meeting. In attendance, we've got Carol Stefanchuk, Licensing Manager, Claire Humphreys, Licensing Officer, and Nathan Mountney, from Legal. Right,
thank you. And we've obviously had apologies for absence from Councillor Laming. Any other absences? No. Right, declarations of interest. Anybody got any interest to declare, please?
No, Chair.
Nothing, right. Right, so we move on to the minutes from the last meeting. The minutes are on pages 5 to 10 of the agenda pack, and it is recommended that the minutes of that meeting held on the 15th of September be approved as a true and accurate record, should no member object.
Agreed.
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 Thank you very much. So I think we've agreed that. Now, I understand we have no public participation this evening.
That's correct, Chair.
No, okay. Right, so we move on to the agenda item number 5, the Hackney Carriage and Private Hire Conditions of Service, LR 536, which is on pages 11 to 36 of the agenda pack. I assume that either Carol or Claire, Carol is going to introduce this one.
It's myself, Councillor Bento, Claire Humphreys, that's introducing.
Right. Thank you. If you could go ahead then, please.
Thank you. So this report relates to recommended changes to the conditions of licence for Hackney carriage and private hire vehicles, drivers and private hire operators as shown in tracked changes at Appendix 1, 2 and 3. These recommended changes are Appendix 1, Hackney carriage and private hire driver conditions. To add, if the driver has any safeguarding concerns, they must report these immediately to the local safeguarding board or police. Appendix 2, Hackney carriage and private hire vehicle conditions, to include the following. A contactless payment device shall be carried in the vehicle at all times as stated in policy. The licence holder shall ensure the contactless device is connected, maintained and working at all times to ensure customers are able to pay by card. The driver must not charge an additional fee or minimum fare for passengers who wish to pay by card. The vehicle must display a permanent sign on both front doors at all times as required in the policy. Vehicles that are plate exempt are excluded from this. A replacement vehicle must comply with all vehicle conditions other than the requirement to display permanent door signs and the Winchester City Council logo on the roof sign. The vehicle licence plate to be permanently fixed to the outside rear of the vehicle, other than those vehicles that are plate exempt. These vehicles must display the plate exemption card in the windscreen at all times. Hackney carriages must have a roof sign that displays the word taxi in black font on a white background on the front and rear of the sign, together with the Winchester City Council logo on the front. The roof sign must be installed in a central position across the width of the roof. Passengers in wheelchairs may be loaded into the vehicle via the side or rear entrance of the vehicle. Moving on to Appendix 3, Private Hire Operator Conditions, to add the following. The operator must ensure that a basic DBS certificate is provided to the licensing authority for each member of staff who makes the provision for bookings on their behalf prior to their employment. The draft conditions being put forward for approval of the Licensing and Regulation Committee this evening relate to the proposed policy changes which were approved by the Licensing and Regulation Committee on the 15th of September 2020 and subsequently adopted into policy by Cabinet on the 10th of November 2020. If members approve the conditions at this meeting, officers will formally consult with the trade until the 24th of January 2021. If comments are received during the consultation, these will be considered by the Licensing and Regulation Committee at a future meeting. When no comments are received, members are asked to delegate to the Service Lead for Public Protection to implement the amended set of conditions and to make any further amendments in keeping with the policy. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Right, we move into debate if anybody wishes to speak.
Chair, it's Nancy here in St Giles. Just apologies again. In my list of attendees, I also failed to mention Councillor Green, but I believe he's not on the call. So another a councillor who isn't actually in attendance.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Right, Councillor Mather, please.
I attended the cabinet meeting and read the paper. Precisely which conditions that we are discussing tonight are pre-approved by cabinet. As far as I can recall, the ones that would involve a bit of expenditure on the part of the drivers and the owners of people like Wintax, etc., were shelved, or not shelved, but postponed because they it was felt that they were suffering hardship because of COVID and all of that, and we didn't want to oblige the spending of money before about the 30th of June. So which of these were pre-approved by Cabinet? And that also raises the question as to whether Cabinet should approve things before the licensing committee does. I would have thought it would be the other way around.
I think we'll take some advice on that one, please.
Good evening. Would it help if I answered that?
Thank you.
Yes, please, Carol.
The policy has been adopted by Cabinet. These conditions have not gone through Cabinet. These conditions effectively have been updated following the additional items in the policy. So what we want to make sure is that anything we've included in the new policy is backed up in conditions of licence, so that the responsibility falls on the driver, vehicle proprietor or the operator to comply with those conditions. The items in relation that we decided to delay are still continuing, so the sets of conditions in the policy are separate documents. Does that answer your query, Councillor Moore?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Councillor Bento, it's Nancy again. I just noticed that Councillor Green has just joined the meeting, so welcome, Councillor Green.
Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. I've been trying for half an hour to get onto this meeting, but only because I found something with Nancy's name on it. I clicked on it and managed to get on it.
Oh, I'm glad you're here now then, thank you.
Right, do we have any further questions on this? I see nobody asking a question.
So yes, I've got a question.
Right, yes.
Who's expected to pay for the contactless machine? Is that the operators themselves, or is that by the council? Who pays for that?
Thank you. Claire?
Oops.
Yes, Claire, please.
Hello, sorry, my mute is not working too well. I do apologise. It will be down to the driver and the operators to pay for their contactless payment device.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, some of them already have it as well, don't they?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. During COVID, the majority of our taxi drivers have already gone out and bought the devices much earlier, because there's very few people at the moment that are paying cash. So we don't expect this to be a particular burden on the drivers, because I think they will realise that that's the way forward, certainly for the next few months at least.
Okay, right, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? No? Any debate? I think it's fairly straightforward what we've got here. Should we go straight to the recommendations? And the recommendations are on page 11. And so I'll read them out. That the amended Hackney Carriage and Private Hire Drivers Conditions at Appendix 1, the amended Hackney Carriage and Private Hire Vehicle Conditions at Appendix 2, and the amended Private Hire Operators Licence Conditions at Appendix 3 be agreed and approved for consultation with the taxi and private hire trade. And where comments are received, following consultation, that these are considered by members of a future Licence and Regulation Committee meeting. If no comments are received following consultation, that members delegate to the Service Lead for Public Protection authority to implement the amended set of conditions and to make any further amendments in keeping with the policy. Are we agreed on that?
Agreed.
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 Right, I think that is agreed.
Agreed.
So we'll record that as agreed, please. And the next item on the agenda is to receive and note the minutes of the licensing subcommittee held on the 21st of September 2020, pages 37 to 40 of the agenda pack. This is referred to the Sainsbury's building in Bishop's Waltham. Are we okay to receive and note those, please?
Noted.
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 Right. I can see no other business on the agenda, so I think we can conclude the full business of this committee and wish everybody, if I don't see you again before Christmas, wish you all a happy Christmas as far as you can and have one. So
Thank you,
good
Chairman.
wishes to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.